For the 8 months that I've been researching, planning, and producing a short film, I've also been documenting the process on WordPress. It could be easily accessed by any electronic device connected to the internet, which made it easy to regularly update my blog with my latest progress and ideas. This gave me a methodological way to record research findings, new ideas, and audience research. Because of this, it was easy for me to go back and find previous findings and ideas to help influence what I was currently working on. It also allowed me to change and develop my ideas due to the continuous nature of blogging. I use Scribes to embed any written documents, such as my shot list and production schedule, and YouTube to embed any videos, such as my first edit and focus groups. This broadened the amount of stimuli that I was able to refer back to on my blog that allowed me to evaluate and improve my project as it progressed. YouTube also acted as a viewing platform for my short film, allowing it to be distributed and seen by others, not unlike how many filmmakers distribute their first films. At the start of my project, I analysed 3 short films in order to establish conventions. To find films to analyse, I used Virgin Media Shorts. These films came with the guarantee that they would be visually and technically of a good standard, so would provide reliable conventions that I could then use in my own short film. For the third short film, I used YouTube. This gave me a vast variety of films to analyse, but in order to ensure my conventions were as similar to real media products as possible, I selected one that bore various laureates of film festivals. When creating a script, I used the online production studio Celtx. It made creating a script simple with the use of a drop-down menu that allowed me to select the format of the text depending on what its purpose was. This consequently created a script that I and my actors could easily understand and interpret, as well as following industry practices. To help gather audience research about my initial idea, I used the website SurveyMonkey. It allowed me to construct a questionnaire online that I could then use to research a wide audience, rather than try to find members of my target audience within the people that I know. I then used Facebook to promote my questionnaire to people within my target audience. This allowed a more diverse sample to be obtained. SurveyMonkey also analysed the responses for me, presenting quantitative data from each closed question which I could then use to produce graphs to visually display my findings, making trends easier to identify. To film my short film, I used my Nikon Coolpix S6800. This films in 1080p, producing a good quality image to help improve the visual quality of my final edit. I also used this to film my focus groups, which allowed the viewer to easily see the reactions and expressions of my participants with ease. Obviously, to have a werewolf film without seeing a werewolf would have dramatically reduced the quality of my work. After it became apparent there was room to show one in my film, I began seeking a free animation program to achieve this. I was skeptical that one existed until I came across Blender. Blender is a free animation software that has been used previously by amateur filmmakers to produce movies and games. I attempted to create a model from a pre-made mesh using YouTube tutorials, but after realising that I didn't have the time or skills to add fur, rig or animate a model, I started researching for a free pre-rigged one. Eventually I found this one. After gaining permission, I was able to download the model and animate it. This was quite simple, with the help of some tutorials, since I only needed it to look down. To create my short film from my raw footage, I used Final Cut. I often use this colour palette feature to correct issues in lighting, whether this was a deliberate intention, like the evening scene, where I deliberately filmed in daylight, or the woodland scene, where filming on different days presented small differences in lighting. It also allowed me to correct small issues in acting. Although Joshua was a good actor, he often acted quite overdramatically. I was able to improve the quality of this by simply increasing the speed at which he spoke. This produced a more natural performance. Lastly, Final Cut allowed me to create a puddle, using masking, control points and a lot of transformation. This created a realistic looking puddle that I could add my wolf above to make it easily appear like a reflection. I used Adobe Photoshop when it came to creating my poster. Not only did this make it easier to access and position each element of my poster, but also allowed me to dramatically improve my initial image. I was able to use a combination of the clone stamp, spot healing and healing brush tools to correct the tilt of my image, as well as remove the street name, drain pipe and vertical protruding part of the wall to make the image less crowded. Photoshop also enabled me to create shadows. The shadow of the wolf I created by taking a pre-existing image and using the brush select tool to cut out just the wolf, before painting it black and decreasing its opacity. I was then able to distort it to show the shadow comes from a physical body. I used a similar principle to create a shadow for the protagonist, otherwise the image wouldn't have been scientifically correct. I was able to use Photoshop to enhance the quality of my final edit. The use of prosthetic makeup made my wolf bite appear deep. However, the surrounding area looked messy and easily visible as fake, due to my inexperience. I was able to use the clone stamp, spot healing and healing brush tool to mask the surrounding area and make it appear as if the wound was real, which enhanced the visual quality of my work. When I came to creating my film review, I used Adobe InDesign. The use of the column menu made sure that I could easily adhere to the film review convention of 3 columns without worrying about getting equal spacing. InDesign also allowed me to easily line aspects of the post up with each other. This ensured that the final product appeared clean and professional. To find similar fonts for this, I used DaFont. Since it was free, I had access to many fonts and wasn't restricted as a student filmmaker. I was able to find fonts that either matched or were very similar to that used by Empire. I was also able to use DaFont to find conventional fonts for my film poster, like Tool Films for the billing block, but also a font that reflected my genres and themes for the main title.